Hello Everypony and welcome to Brony FanFics. Today, I'm going to bring you another weird one, not going to lie. I haven't actually read it, but from what I can see, it's a pretty weird one. It's a random thing. It's called For Love of Manican Food? Okay. No, it's not like mannequin as in the doll mannequin, but I have no idea what that kind of mannequin means. But, if you know, put it in the comments, so maybe it's... I have no idea. But anyway, enough of me trying to interpret words that I don't understand. Let's read some fanfiction. For Love of Manican Food, by... I have no idea. Twilight Sparkle stared at the sandwich on the plate in front of her, with an expression akin to annoyance. Although it was a lovely blend of daisies and daffodils between the two pieces of bread, and altogether her stomach was making a considerable case for the sandwich on the plate. The unicorn just couldn't bring herself to eat it. She sighed. She considered calling for Spike, but then remembered that he wasn't around today. The baby dragon had gone with Rarity to hunt more gems that she could use in her gowns. No matter what Twilight thought about the situation, Spike was comfortable with it, so it wasn't entirely in her horse. Regardless, Spike being with Rarity wasn't doing her stomach any favours. The librarian snorted at her sandwich. She liked daisy and daffodil sandwiches, and had ever since she was a young filly. But something about today was just making it look so unappealing and bland. Perhaps it was that cookbook she'd checked out for Lyra when the mint green unicorn came by earlier. She'd ended up chatting with the other pony for more than a few minutes. Lyra mentioning that she wanted to surprise Bonbon with something a little different for the potluck the two ponies were attending later in the week. Ugh, said Twilight, finally breaking down. Her horn became enveloped in magenta energy, and the sandwich and plate levitated into the air in the unicorn's telekinetic grasp. The sandwich flew towards her refrigerator, whereupon she also seized the handle with her magic, opened the fridge, and placed the sandwich within. I'll just eat this thing later, she declared. Twilight's horn glowed again, and her white saddlebags floated over to where she stood before dropping onto her back. She trotted quickly to the door, flipped a sign to show that the library was closed, and left her home. A few ponies were walking about in Ponyville streets around the library this lunch hour, none of them really paying too much attention to Twilight Sparkle as they went about their business. That suited Twilight just fine for the moment as she began to trot away from her home, stomach reminding her of its empty state. Hush you, she said to the offending organ. With any luck we'll be able to find just what I'm looking for to fill you up. Ponyville has plenty of options when it comes to getting food. I'm sure at least one of them will have some. No sooner she had finished speaking with her mane fluttered in a breeze caused by a Pegasus pony quickly flying past her. Twilight smirked in a bit of amusement as the Pegasus looped in front of her before landing right in the unicorn's path. Hiya, Twilight, said the cyan pony with a prismatic mane, the cutie mark of a cumulus cloud with a rainbow lightning bolt shooting down from it on her flank. What you doing? Rainbow Dash, Twilight said. I take it you're off from your weather pony duties for the day. Yeah, I had the early shift this morning, answered the Pegasus. So, what about you? I was just going to get out and get some lunch, answered Twilight. Care to accompany me? Rainbow Dash nodded her head in an affirmative and hopped into the air on her wings so that she could slowly flutter in the air while the unicorn walked. As far as Rainbow Dash was concerned, if you have wings, why not use them? Hey, where's Spike at today? Rainbow Dash asked. Oh, Spike's out helping Rarity collect more gemstones today, Twilight told the Pegasus. Uh-huh, said Rainbow. She's still got him wrapped around her hoof, huh? Twilight sighed. You could say that. Now let's see, she mused. The cafe should be right up Syrup Street. There it is. In front of the two ponies stood the quaint building with its thatched roof and outdoor tables. Through the pink-tinted window, the pair could just see numerous ponies inside, enthusiastically eating their lunches while sharing local gossip. The waiter pony, a cream-coloured earth pony stallion with a sleek cobalt mane, was currently attending to a table where Derpy Hooves sat with raindrops. The waiter presenting the wall-eyed pony... The waiter pony presented the wall-eyed Derpy with the plate of blueberry muffins she ordered. The two Pegasi saw Rainbow Dash and waved at her. Rainbow Dash gave them both a friendly wave back, while Twilight Sparkle was a little more reserved in her wave. She still remembered how the two mallard ponies had accidentally dropped a flower pot and anvil, hay cart, and piano on her while she was researching Pinkie Pie's Pinky Sense. Rainbow, Pinkie's tail wasn't twitching earlier, was it? Rainbow Dash laughed and landed next to the pale lavender unicorn. Twilight currently checking the sky. Gee, Twilight, you still worried about that? Don't worry. I've heard from the four-pony that Derpy and Raindrops haven't tried lifting anything too heavy for them to carry, for the most part. Twilight gave her a look. She'd had to spend a week in Ponyville's hospital after she finally gave in and believed the bubblegum pink pony's mystical Pinky Sense. The pair sat down on hay bales opposite each other at one of the cafe's traditional purple mushroom-themed tables. A vase of black-eyed Susans was set in the centre of the table between them. Rainbow Dash reached forward and snatched one of the flowers in her teeth. She began munching on her appetizer. The waiter pony came over to them within a minute. "Good afternoon," he said, passing menus to the two friends from where they were tucked into his coat. "Is there something I can get you to drink while you decide?" Rainbow Dash swallowed. "I'll have a glass of apricot berry punch, please." "Apple juice, please," Twilight said as she activated her telekinetic levitation to look at the menu. Her violet eyes began to scan the list, pausing momentarily to take in each item. The waiter pony nodded at their selection and began to trot away. "Wait!" Twilight called suddenly. He stopped and turned around. "Is there something the matter, miss?" Twilight gave him an apologetic look and put the menu down. "I'm sorry, but your restaurant just isn't serving what I'm looking for today. Sorry to waste your time." "Hey, Twilight!" Rainbow Dash called after the retreating pony startled. She turned to the waiter, even more apology in her rose-coloured eyes than her friends. "Sorry about this. Here for the flower," leaving one golden bit on the table. Rainbow Dash fluttered into the air and dashed after the unicorn. Twilight was already halfway down the street when Rainbow Dash caught up with her. "What the hell was that all about?" asked the Pegasus. The unicorn gave her friend a rather sheepish smile. "Sorry about that, Rainbow Dash. They don't have burritos there." The weather pony gave Twilight a confused look. "They don't have what now?" "Burritos. They're traditional Manican food." Am I saying that right, Manican? You'll have to tell me. Rainbow Dash looked even more perplexed at Twilight's simple explanation. "I'm sorry, Twilight. Manican?" Twilight Sparkle shook her head and gave her athletic friend a polite smile. "Oh, Rainbow Dash, Manico is a province in the southern Equestria. It has a more tropical environment than the temperate one we enjoy here in Ponyville. The ponies there eat spicier food than we do." "Spicier, huh?" Twilight rolled her eyes. "It's where we get our hot sauce from." Rainbow Dash at last showed recognition in her face. "Oh, right, Manico!" She landed. "So what's the sudden craving for Manican food?" "Well, Lyra borrowed a cookbook from the library earlier, and it kind of got my mind going towards wanting some Manican cuisine. I haven't had it for a while, not since I left Canterlot to come here for the summer sun celebration." Rainbow Dash laughed. "Well, that's no surprise. There aren't any Manican or ponies or restaurants in Ponyville." Twilight chuckled a little. "You kidding, Rainbow Dash? I'm sure there has to be some place in Ponyville where a pony can get a decent burrito." Rainbow Dash placed her hoof close to her mouth. Twilight began walking away. "This won't be good." The apple tree shuddered as strong as tangerine hooves squarely struck its trunk. The ripe apples up in the tree's canopy shuddered once before falling down into the baskets placed below. Applejack removed her cow pony hat from her head with a relieved sigh and wiped her brow with a foreleg, before replacing her hat atop her straw-coloured mane. The cow pony placed each basket into her saddle before sliding underneath it. The apple was now secure. Applejack stood up, satisfied at how they were positioned on both flanks. "Alright," she said to herself as she began to trot back to the farm building of Sweet Apple Acres. "Now time to get these apples in storage. They won't keep if I leave 'em out here. Applejack!" The earth pony nearly lost her apples as she jumped her full height into the air in sunrise. In surprise. I'm terrible at reading today. It didn't take the mare more than a moment to locate the shouting voice's owner. 3 ponies were rushing towards her, two in the air and 1 on the ground. "What, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, what's going on, Everypony?" Rainbow Dash dropped onto the ground in front of the cow pony. She took Applejack's shoulder in her forehoofs and stared straight into the earth pony's green eyes from an inch away. "Applejack, we've got a big problem." "Problem?" asked Applejack. "What sort of problem?" "It's Twilight," Rainbow Dash wailed dramatically, falling over onto her back. "The poor pony's gone crazy again, AJ," said Pinkie, the party pony, a little displeased. "She's causing a fracas up and down Ponyville because she can't get her hoofs on a burrito." Applejack looked at her in confusion. "I'm sorry, Sugar Cube, but could you say that again?" The pink-coated mare sighed, took a deep breath, and began explaining. "So Twilight left her library for lunch. She'd made a lunch, but she didn't really want to eat it because she wanted something different. Met Rainbow Dash and went to Blue Carrot Cafe. I've always wondered about the name, Blue Carrot Cafe, because carrots aren't blue, they're orange. I think I saw a white carrot once, but somebody told me that was really a horseradish." Pinkie Pie," Fluttershy gently interrupted. "But then radishes are, radish-coloured, and horses and ponies are also of different colours. So I don't know what we're calling a white carrot or..." I'm terrible at reading today, plus Pinkie talks so fast, it's hard. "So I don't know what we're doing calling a white carrot a horseradish." "Pinkie Pie," Fluttershy said again, slightly louder than before. Fortunately, she caught the earth pony in a pause of breath. "Yes, Fluttershy?" "Oh, so sorry to interrupt, Pinkie, but you're getting a bit off topic." Pinkie Pie giggled. "Oops, silly me. So anyway, Twilight and Rainbow Dash went to the Blue Carrot Cafe, which is really a strange name." "Pinkie," Applejack growled impatiently. "Right, oops, sorry, but then they left before they could even order anything because Twilight noticed that they didn't have any burritos on the menu. So Twilight came by Sugar Cube Corner in the case Mr. and Mrs. King knew how to make burritos, but they weren't in, and I had no idea what she was talking about when she said burrito. That's a really funny word, isn't it? Burrito. Just kind of rolls off your tongue. Burrito. She started giggling. Rainbow Dash pushed Pinkie Pie out of the way. Anyway, after Twilight started going from stall to stall in the marketplace, and now she's galloping all around town asking any pony she can find if they've ever even heard of burritos before like it's supposed to be common knowledge or something. Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy began in a soft voice. "I know what a burrito is." "What?" The Cyan Pegasus rounded on the timid light yellow one. "Why didn't you say anything before?" "Because you never mentioned that Twilight was looking for burritos before," Fluttershy answered, slightly averting her teal eyes. Does that mean you have some?" Applejack asked. Because if this is what I think it is, Twilight's gonna cause some kind of big catastrophe like last time if we don't take her seriously. All of Ponyville could be in danger. I don't even want to imagine what could happen to the farm if she goes bonkers again." "Well, no," Fluttershy answered slowly. "I don't have any burritos, and I don't know how to make them, unfortunately. But I do know what they are. I have a cousin in Manico. I went to his house 2 years ago, and we had some of the most delicious Manican food on a picnic near the rainforest. There were so many different birds and lizards and insects there, she sighed. It was like a dream. Yeah, muttered Rainbow Dash. But how's that help our problem, Fluttershy? Oh, I guess it doesn't. Sorry. I've got it! Exclaimed Pinkie Pie. We hold a great big Manican food party. We'll have so much fun stuffing our mouths with Manican food that there's no way Twilight will go on a big wild princess has to come save the day rampage. That's a great idea, Pinkie, Applejack agreed. There's only one problem, though. None of us know how to make Manican food. A moan of contentment left Derpy's mouth as she chewed on the freshly baked blueberry muffin that was on her plate. A little bit of butter spread on the hot muffin's top. Raindrops laughed at the ridiculously happy look that was probably on the grey pony's face beneath her yellow mane. Derpy just giggled a little to herself and took another bite of the muffin while the mare with jasmine coat and teal mane across from her dug into her alfalfa salad. The muffin was good, and nice and moist from being freshly baked, but not quite as good as the one she baked back home with Dinky. Derpy! A voice suddenly shouted next to her. The Pegasus flailed about for a second, nearly losing her grip on her muffin and almost flailing off her hay bale. She looked up. Twilight Sparkle was standing in front of her, the lavender unicorn with slate blue mane, with pink and purple highlights, giving the golden-eyed Pegasus an apologetic look. Sorry about this interruption, she said. Oh, it's no problem, Twilight Sparkle, Derpy said, making sure that she had a steady grip on her muffin. How can I help you today? I'm trying to do the traditional... Well, not traditional, but the original voice that Hasbro gave her. It's not turning out too great, is it? Yeah. I know this will sound a little strange, Twilight Sparkle began. I know you make the best muffins in Ponyville, and this has nothing to do with muffins. But you wouldn't happen to know how to make a burrito, would you? Derpy placed her hoof back down on her plate. She looked back at Twilight Sparkle, smiling apologetically. Sorry, Twilight. I don't even know what a burrito is. The lavender unicorn appeared to try and withhold a frustrated scream before she started to gallop off. 5 seconds later, she appeared to lose all restraint. Doesn't any pony here know what a burrito is? Raindrop frowned as her gaze followed the unicorn, before looking back at the Pegasus across the table from her. What's eating her mane? She asked. Derpy shrugged and reached for her muffin again. Fluttershy rapped lightly on her door and smiled when it opened a few seconds later to the house's inhabitant. Hello, Lyra, the kind Pegasus greeted. Oh, hi, Fluttershy, the mint green unicorn replied. What brings you here this afternoon? Well, actually, said Applejack as she came forward with Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie, it's about Twilight. Lyra looked anxiously at the 4 ponies outside her door. Oh dear, what is it? Did something happen? She was just fine when I went to the library earlier. No, it's nothing like that, Applejack assured her. Actually, we wanted to talk to you about the book you borrowed from her. Do you think we could come in and talk for a moment? Lyra blinked and then nodded her head. She stepped back and rose onto her 2 hind legs to let them pass. Of course, come in. Once the 4 ponies had entered, she closed the door and dropped back onto all fours. Wow, you have a really nice living room, Lyra. Pinkie Pie complimented the unicorn, looking around the abode. Lyra smiled. Thanks, Pinkie. Now, what was this about a book that you wanted to talk about? Well, it's like this, Applejack began. Ever since you got that book out, Twilight's been acting all weird, Rainbow Dash sharply accused her. Rainbow Dash, Applejack sternly fired at her friend. That's not how you go around reading other ponies. But it's true, Rainbow Dash argued. Since Lyra got that book out, Twilight's been going on a burrito rampage throughout Ponyville. Oh, you mean this book? Lyra inquired. The horn glowed with a teal light, and the same glow covered a book that had been lying open on the coffee table in front of a couch. Its covers snapped closed, and Lyra moved it over so that it was in front of her. All Equestrian Cuisine by Bobby Ney. she said happily. There are dozens of recipes in this book for all sorts of ponies across Equestria. There are hors d'oeuvres from famous high society chefs in Canterlot, traditional apple desserts from Appaloosa, grilled grass steaks from Philadelphia, and a bunch of different foods from Manico. Totriel maple... Wait! Rainbow Dash almost shouted. Manican food? Our book has Manican food in it? Lyra nodded. Yes, I was actually hoping to make these Manican quesadillas for a potluck bonbon, and I are attending with Carrot Top, Derpy, Colgate, and Dr. Who's later this week. Applejack sighed. I hate to impose this on you, Lyra, but do you think we might be able to borrow that book for a bit? I promise we'll have it back before sundown. Well, I'm sure, Applejack, Lyra said, levitating the book into Applejack's saddlebag. But whatever for? Well, our friend Twilight... Oh, yeah, this Fluttershy. Well, our friend Twilight's been going on a little bit crazy, Fluttershy said quietly. Crazy's an understatement, Pinkie Pie spoke up. If this keeps up, she's going to go all magic spewing wacko on us. Pinkie Pie's rad, said Applejack to the mint-coloured unicorn. And the last time that Twilight went crazy because we did take her seriously, she caused all y'all to go gaga over a Smarty Pants doll until Princess Celestia herself showed up to put an end to it. We don't need to have a 13-foot apple fritters running through Ponyville because she lost control to some freaky spell she cast when apple fritters turned out to be the closest thing to a burrito she could get her hooves on. 13-foot apple fritters? Pinkie exclaimed. Ooh, could we convince her that the cupcakes are closer to burritos than the apple fritters, and that she can make them J-mungus instead? I've always dreamed of dancing with and eating a giant dancing cupcake. Rainbow Dash began to push the babbling, bubbly earth pony outside. Ignore her, she said to Lyra. Thanks a bunch. No problem, Lyra called after them with a smile. Just make sure you bring the book back. Twilight said I'm responsible for it. Alright now, Applejack said within the kitchen of Sugar Cube Corner. Let's see what we got here. Rainbow Dash lit the corner of her hoof and turned the book over to the table of contents. Manican food. There it is, Fluttershy said, pointing as she hovered over the book on her wings. Traditional Manican cuisine, Chapter 5, Black-Eyed Pea burritos, page 5 to 12. Alright, exclaimed Applejack as Rainbow Dash started flipping pages rapidly. Ooh, this is exciting, Pinkie Pie declared as she started bouncing up and down. I've never made burritos before. Here we go, Rainbow Dash said. Page 5 to 12. Black-eyed pea burritos served 4 to 6 ponies. Let's see here. So, 6 12-inch tortilla shells? Hey! Are these tortilla shells supposed to be Manican for tortoise shells? Because I'm not making these things if I have to do anything bad to Tank. Oh, no, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy explained. And it's not tortilla shell, it's pronounced tortilla shell. It's a type of unveiled flatbread made from wheat, flour, or finely crushed corn flour, Pinkie Pie added. Rainbow Dash looked at Pinkie Pie in surprise. How did you know that, Pinkie? Well, duh! Every pony knows what tortillas are, Dashy. Rainbow Dash and Applejack sighed. Well, that's a mighty relief, said the cow pony. I was worried, too, for a second there. Now, what else do we need? Here we go, Rainbow Dash continued. A half cup of dried and fully cooked black-eyed peas, or drained can of them. A teaspoon of olive oil, a diced red onion, 2 cloves of minced garlic, a chopped zucchini, a diced red or green pepper, a teaspoon of cumin, a quarter teaspoon of cayenne, teaspoon of dried oregano, and 2 teaspoons of divided sea salt. She withdrew from the book and frowned. I wonder where we're going to get all that stuff. What kind of recipe is that? Applejack asked. There ain't any alfalfa oats or daffodils or even apples in it. It's just a recipe, AJ. Rainbow Dash told her. We can make a few changes to make it an apple burrito if you really want. You're damn right I do, Applejack told her definitively. We can probably pick up most of the ingredients in the marketplace, Fluttershy said, especially the zucchini, peas, garlic, pepper, and herbs. But I'm not sure about the tortillas or sea salt. I know I haven't seen those before in Ponyville, Pinkie Pie offered. Rainbow Dash suddenly smacked one hoof to another as she connected the dots. Canterlot! She exclaimed. Twilight told me that she hasn't had a burrito since she left Canterlot for Ponyville. I get it, Applejack said. Since Canterlot is such an important place with the Princess Celestia being there and all, there's got to be a whole lot of different points all over Equestria living there. And that means there'd be a lot of different foods a pony can have in Canterlot, Fluttershy added. Including burritos and chimichangas, said Pinkie Pie. I don't even think I've actually named it yet. Chimichurri or chimichanga? Chimichurri or chimichanga? That struck a sudden chord with Applejack. Now wait just an apple buck a minute there, Pinkie. Ain't your chimichangas Manican food? Pinkie gasped. You know what, I think they are. Thanks, Applejack. I never would have guessed that. Well, how in the hay would you know how to make one of your chimichangas if you can't get tortillas in Ponyville? Pinkie waved a hoof dismissively. Oh, that's easy, Applejack. I just ordered them in on the Sugar Cube Corners delivery form from the supermarket in Canterlot. Rainbow Dash, Applejack, and Fluttershy all groaned. Does that mean you have some tortillas here, Pinkie? Pinkie put her hoof on her mouth and thought, no, I think I ran out last Tuesday. Rainbow Dash groaned again and took to the air above the other ponies in the kitchen. All right then, she said. I'll go to Canterlot and get the tortillas and sea salt. Good, Applejack said. There's a train leaving in 10 minutes. There's no time to catch the train, Rainbow Dash argued. It will be faster if I just fly there. I can get to Canterlot and back in 10 seconds flat. She flew out the confectionery shop, or would have if her prismatic tail was not caught in some pony's teeth. Hold on there, Rainbow Dash, Applejack said through clenched teeth. You mean to tell us that you're going to get to Canterlot, find the store, find the tortillas and sea salt, pay for them, and get it back here in 10 little seconds? Rainbow Dash stopped to consider. You're right, that is a lot. Okay, to Canterlot and back in 5 minutes flat. She took off again. This time her tail evading Applejack's snatching teeth. The other three ponies sighed and looked to each other. Alright, y'all, Applejack began. If Rainbow is as fast as she's always boasting, then the rest of us had better get to work. The hairs on May and Mare's tan coat stood on end as the doors to the town hall flew open with a furious bang. In the doorway stood a pony, relatively new to the town. The mare had gotten to know quite a bit about the several personal meetings with her, and royal missives from Princess Celestia and Princess Luna. Twilight Sparkle didn't even rush into the building. Her horn glowed brightly with magenta light before the pony vanished in a flash of light. Before May and Mare could even blink, the unicorn reappeared almost a foot away from her in a second flash of light from the teleport spell. Miss Mayor! Twilight demanded. Tell me that you, of all ponies in this town, know what a burrito is. May and Mare could see the red veins in the eyes of the Princess Celestia student. She was obviously very upset about something or other. I'm sorry, Twilight. Could you repeat the question, please? Burrito, a traditional Manican dish consisting of tortilla folded over a filling, as of refried beans, cheese, gratings, or alfalfa sprouts. Where in Ponyville can I get a decent burrito? The mayor looked behind her anxiously as Twilight snorted obnoxiously in the mayor's face. The lavender unicorn had been at this for far too long. Her stomach was completely devoid of any remnants of her breakfast and was keeping up a consistent rate of growling every minute and 16 seconds for a duration of precisely 8 seconds with a standard deviation of 0.46 seconds. If she didn't get a burrito soon, she was going to... Twilight, stop! The unicorn whipped around and Rainbow Dash's voice. In Town Hall's open doorway stood the Cyan Pegasus, as well as Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash was forcing away a pained winds, while her wings looked a little more ruffled than usual. "You gotta stop this, Twi," Applejack said as she came into the town hall. "It is not healthy for you." "But it's taken me over a year to realise that there's no place in Ponyville where a pony can get a decent burrito. I had no idea that our food options were so limited here until today because we've all been so busy." Pinkie Pie giggled. "Not anymore, Twilight," she said. "We found some pony who can make burritos." All of Twilight Sparkle's hostility melted away and to be replaced by a face beaming with hope. "You have?" Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash all stepped away from Fluttershy to show the light yellow Pegasus in all her pink-maned glory, holding a platter of 6 burritos in her right forehoof. Twilight trotted up to her friends, scarcely able to believe her eyes. Where did you... I looked everywhere and asked every pony I knew, but I still couldn't..." She sniffed the plate and inhaled deeply the smell rising from the wraps. They were warm and fresh, and she could even smell a bit of cheese in them too. Twilight looked around at her friends again and gasped. "Rainbow Dash, what happened to your wing?" "Oh, it's really nothing, Twilight," the Pegasus said modestly. "Just a little sprain is all. I flew a little recklessly on my way back from Canterlot and crashed into the Cake's kitchen. Luckily Pinkie was there to open the window for me." "You flew to Canterlot and back today?" Twilight asked Dash, stunned. "How long did it take you?" Applejack laughed. 5 minutes on the button, just as she said," the mayor answered. "And that included time for shopping for tortilla shells and salt." "And don't forget the cheese I also grabbed," Rainbow Dash reminded her proudly. "I figured they'd work well in these things. And it sure smells like it does." Twilight just stared at them until her stomach growled again. She blushed and looked down at it while her friends and the mayor simply laughed. "Well, Twilight Sparkle," Mayor began, "I believe you were asking me where a pony might find a decent burrito in Ponyville." Twilight's blush deepened as she looked at the platter in Fluttershy's hoof. Go on, Twilight," urged the Pegasus. "Try one of them. I'm sure you'll like them. Thanks to Pinkie's experience in cooking Manican cuisine." Twilight's horn became encased in magenta light as did one of the burritos on her plate. She brought it to her mouth in a spell's grasp and bit down into the burrito. The unicorn practically melted it, and her stomach rumbled loudly for more. It was beyond decent. It was beyond decent. It was delicious, and I've buggered up the scrolling. Hang on. Twilight swallowed hard and looked at her friends with as much gratitude as she could muster. "Thank you, Everypony. It tastes wonderful. I can't remember having a better tasting burrito in any of the Manican restaurants in Canterlot." Applejack beamed. "Well, we're all mighty glad you enjoyed, Twilight. Eat as much as you..." The stomachs of the 4 hungry ponies had skipped making lunch growled sharply. Twilight was the first to break out laughing. Alright, well, that was... what was the title again? For Love of Manican Food. Like I said, it was going to be a weird one, and it most definitely was. Thank you for listening. And, yeah, I don't really know what more to say on that, really. Everything turned out alright. Twilight got a burrito. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and keep on spreading... I really can't talk today. Keep on spreading the magic of friendship, and I'll see you next time.